It's been the most watched play in the state of Oklahoma. The onside kick try by the Oregon Ducks, and then the second most watched play, the pass interference call on the tip pass by CJIU. But that's ancient history. The Sooners are back home. That means Adrian Peterson, with his Heisman hopes, comes back home to Norman, both as a running back and a pass receiver. The Sooners tonight entertain the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. It's been a long week for Sooner fans. They've been waiting for a home game all week long. I don't think this is duck that they're cooking out. I still think this is burgers, brats, and chicken. But nonetheless, Oklahoma is ready for a home game. Tonight, it's a Sooner football Saturday night as the 17th-ranked Sooners in the 5th largest city in the state of Oklahoma, the Gaylord family, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium tonight, entertaining the feisty and ornery Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. And good evening, everyone. I'm Mitch Holtis, along with former Sooner Dean Blevins. Now, this is, with all respect to Middle Tennessee, Dean, this is a mouthwash game for Oklahoma. They want to get the taste of that Oregon game out of their mouth.
Well, everyone knows what happened up in Eugene. We won't even spend any time on it, but I think that Oklahoma is looking at bouncing back from that. But also, this is a club that's done a really nice job of bouncing back to what happened right before the season started, and that was the starting quarterback from last year being kicked off of the team. Paul Thompson comes in, and he has played extremely well. But not many teams have had to deal with the problems of that preseason issue and then what happened up at Oregon.
Well, one thing Oklahoma does need to do is stop the run. Now, Middle Tennessee's got a nice runner in Eugene Gross.
Eugene Gross is a guy averaging over 4 yards a carry. He's someone who he receives the football pretty well, and he's also a guy who finds the end zone. He's already been there 3 times this season. Last year led the Sun Belt Conference in scoring, and Oklahoma will be focusing on him, also knowing that this is pretty effective a team throwing the football too.
Now on the other side, Adrian Peterson. He's putting up Heisman numbers, he's got a Heisman body, and he's been Heisman busy.
Well, the Heisman body is healthy. That's the key thing, because AD has been beat up for a good number of games since he's been at Oklahoma, but here he is looking sleek, looking good, feeling healthy, and the teams that have played Oklahoma have felt his presence so far this year. He's also being used as a receiver, getting in the end zone, and also Bob Stoops had him running back kickoffs last week in Eugene.
It's not even fair. Now, let's go back to the OU defense, though. There's some big play defenders over there. When you look at Reggie Smith and Rufus Alexander, but isn't it time for big play players to start making big play plays?
There are several big play players who've not made big plays. Reggie Smith, though, on your right, number 3, is one of the guys as a sophomore who's been switched from corner to safety in this game, who has lived up to that reputation. But the coaches tell us he's the only one that's playing that way. Rufus Alexander is fully capable at Willie linebacker. He needs to lead the way, particularly against that run game tonight.
Getting off to a start is something that's been a problem for both of these teams. Let's travel down to Sean Kelly on the sideline.
Mitch and Dean, while this may be the first meeting between these two teams, they do share the one thing in common, that are the slow first 2 quarters. So far this season, OU's only scored 26 points combined in the first halves of the 2006 campaign, where the good news is that they've scored 68 in the second half. Offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson says that they've simplified things in the second half, and maybe they'll do that tonight, starting off in the first quarter. Middle Tennessee State's numbers, 13 first half points so far this season, 48 in the second half. First quarter fireworks is what we'll look for down here, gentlemen.
All right, forget Oregon. It's time to play football again for the Oklahoma Sooners. They entertain the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, a team that has the propensity to force an upset. Welcome back to Gaylord family, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Owen Field, the Oklahoma Sooners back on their home turf after losing that controversial game last week to the Oregon Ducks. And up against the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. A look at another sellout crowd, actually beyond sellout, the 20th consecutive time they've been over capacity. And there's a look at Bob Stoops in his 8th year. He's 43-2 at home. He's lost 1 conference game here, and he's lost 1 non-conference game. That was the opener last year against TCU. And for Bob, he's anxious. to get back after it too. You look at Garrett Hartley, the kicker for the Sooners, as Middle Tennessee will have the football first to start the game. Thanks for joining us tonight on this Sooner Saturday. DeMarco McNair now fumbles the ball, and the Blue Raiders have to pounce on it at the 5. So right out of the gate, Middle Tennessee will be backed up and will have 1st and 10 at their own 5-yard line. This Middle Tennessee ball club not playing with its right tackle tonight. They've already had to make an adjustment on the offensive line. Mark Thompson will start there. Jermail Franklin, who had 32 consecutive starts at right tackle for Middle Tennessee, not playing tonight. So that means Mark Thompson, you see at the right of your screen, has to play right tackle. Middle Tennessee, last year 4 wins in the Sun Belt. Quarterback Clint Marks on the boot, throws it away left-handed, and already pressure from the Sooners. Let's take a look now at the starting lineups as Burdine pressuring Marks into the incompletion. Here's a look at Clint Marks. His completion percentage way down from a year ago. Last year at 68%, was 2nd in the country behind Brian Brome of Louisville.
Important for this Oklahoma defense to keep the Blue Raiders from doing anything on this first possession, and they have great field position, which certainly restricts the playbook of Middle Tennessee.
McNair is the lone setback. Clint Marks is a senior. He's been through a lot. 3-year ladder winner. As the Blue Raider quarterback, and he wants timeout. So Middle Tennessee already nervous.
A little bit surprising because Oklahoma was doing nothing unusual there, and Middle Tennessee should have been ready for that. Wasted turnovers often come back to hurt you. But, you know, this is important in the first series because Bob Stoops' philosophy has always been to defer, and they did that up at Oregon, and I thought that might have been a game that maybe a change in philosophy because that's an explosive Oregon team. But after the game, Coach Stoops said, nope, that's what he's going to stick with. The defense needs to get out there and make a stand. He didn't want the offense to go 3 and out and give them good field position. But, of course, Oregon was able to take it quickly and score. And so if you can jam them up down here, Oklahoma gets good field position. That philosophy works out.
And to make the matters even worse, as you see Brett Venables, boy, does he want his team. That was his phrase he told us yesterday. It's time to clean it up on the defensive end. The Middle Tennessee also going into the wind. So they got bad field position. They call an early timeout. They muff the kick, and they're going into a north-northwest wind. That'll make it a challenge for them.
Well, I think the thing to watch for early is obvious, and that is mentally. Is Oklahoma ready to play? Just watching them in warm-ups and watching right before the game and then watching the first play there, you get the sense that they are. But it's a 3.5-hour night, or as it was in Eugene, it's a 4-hour game occasionally, and it takes more than the start, but it's starting good.
Clint Marks in the shotgun here for Middle Tennessee. Again, their right tackle, Jermail Franklin, not playing tonight. His mother passed away. The funeral was today. Marks, the left-hander, tosses it up the sideline. The receiver's actually out of bounds and defended well over there as Lindy Holmes crowding Bobby Williams out of room on the short side.
Well, that's great coverage by Lindy Holmes, and a key change in attack. Brent Venables and Bobby Jack Wright, the secondary coach, have decided, a good look at Brent there, to go ahead and make what is a significant change, and that is to move Reggie Smith, the star we talked about off the top. He can be a star at any position, but he's moved from cornerback back to safety, where he will team with Darian Williams, but that puts Lindy Holmes and Marcus Walker on the corners.
Just 40 seconds into this game, Middle Tennessee with problems here. They've got the ball again at their own 5 and a timeout called. You call this timeout? Middle Tennessee, they only get 3 of these, Dean. They burned up 2 and they've only played 40 seconds. They're back up at their own 5. Unless the NCAA gives Middle Tennessee 10 more timeouts, they got a little bit of a problem here.
Well, let's not get into those types of possibilities, okay?
Middle Tennessee. Now, this team, we need to talk about them. Last year, Vanderbilt was 4-0. They had Jay Cutler at quarterback, now with the Denver Broncos. Vandy was all excited. They had beaten Arkansas. They ended up beating Tennessee at Tennessee, but they could not beat Middle Tennessee at Nashville. These guys ruined Vanderbilt's season last year. Now let's go down to the sideline as Sean Kelly is with one of the 4 Heisman Trophy winners in OU history.
Well, talk about legends, Mitch. This guy's drawing quite a reaction down here in the left end zone. And Billy, you were the last running back in Oklahoma to win a Heisman Trophy, 1978. Perhaps maybe the next running back is on the field to play tonight.
You know, boy, I tell you, his freshman year, any freshman ever was one, Adrian Peterson should have won it then. But he got another shot at it, so it may happen.
Billy, you've always got that smile with you. Is it because you're back home at Oklahoma again?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Every time I see Coach Switzer, I get on my knees and I thank him for getting me out of Hooks, Texas.
And you've got the old school look working tonight, too.
Yeah.
Hey, Mitch, Adrian Peterson will be 570 yards away from Billy Sims' all-time career rushing mark here at Oklahoma, but he takes the field later tonight.
If he stays healthy, it won't take him long. Marks from his own end zone. Finds his tight end, Stephen Chicola. He's well short of a first down. They're going to have to punt. All right, Billy Sims. Now, you played with Billy, Dean, and people, it's obvious. I mean, it's the comparison between he and Adrian Peterson.
Well, there are a lot of similarities. They both are strong and big and fast, but Billy brought something very unusual. Unusual enough for Barry Switzer to get him back in an I formation and to pump it to him even in the wishbone a ton. We'll compare them here in a moment, but Oklahoma, a great possession here. See if they can get good field position or possibly a block.
Middle Tennessee burns 2 timeouts. They move the ball about 4 yards. Now they have to punt. It's a high snap. OU's got a great history of blocking kicks, but the punt into the wind is not very good. And this is a good punter slash kicker. Colby Smith does both chores for Middle Tennessee. It's a very short punt, and Oklahoma's going to have great field position.
Well, that's one of the great advantages of having a returner like Reggie Smith, because he'll either get a great kickback or people return rather, or people will kick it out of bounds short.
Paul Thompson forced into the starting quarterback role again. 60% completion after 3 games. Known in 45 years, only 2 quarterbacks have done that. Josh Heupel and Jason White. But Thompson has done a nice job, and OU doesn't take long in giving it to AD. Adrian Peterson gets a short gain to the Middle Tennessee 35. So great field position for OU. J.K. Sabb made the tackle, the best defender arguably on the Middle Tennessee team. There's a look at the in the backfield as Adrian Peterson getting the start at running back. Malcolm Kelly, explosive at wide receiver last week against Oregon. Joaquin Iglesias the same, and Joe John Finley's had a good year at tight end. Ian Pleasant in at fullback for the Sooners. Peterson breaks it back and gets a downfield block. Peterson to the 20 and shoved out there at the 19-yard line. Saving the touchdown was Roy Polite for Middle Tennessee.
Peterson healthy, ready to go, and this is a play that Oklahoma runs a lot. They are getting people moving to the right. He cuts back on a design play, gets to the wide side of the field, and he's trying to use a Malcolm Kelly block and get in the end zone. Good defensive play there, and you watch Peterson get banged out a lot. And you know, you see a lot of these guys in the pros, Mitch, that take some physical hits. It's amazing that this guy takes 30 hits a game and is able to come back.
His touches, he now has 669 touches at the middle. There's another touch, and he's inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. They'll mark him down officially at the 4. Jonathan Harris, the strong safety, but AD is off to a good start in this one.
Sean Kelly was exactly right. As we watch a replay here, Oklahoma just busting him straight up the gut. Nice job up front, no one touching him really for about 6 yards. But the playbook is simplified, and as long as you turn around and hand it to 28, you don't have to get real complicated.
Sooners now have had problems in the red zone. 14 trips in the red zone, only 6 touchdowns. Peterson trying the right side, and the Blue Raiders waiting on him. He's nailed by Danny Carmichael of the Blue Raiders. Now, what about this OU offensive line? Very young, but it's a big night for them as well to build some confidence.
Well, there you see it. Mesner, the guy who's been around, the captain, and he's the senior, and the rest of the guys are sophomores. Beeler is not at center. He comes in, and he is replacing John Cooper, who's injured, and he is a freshman out of Jinx.
2nd and goal to go for the Sooners. early here in the first quarter. Peterson gets it again, and Middle Tennessee waiting on him.
Middle Tennessee is fast defensively, and I felt coming into this game because they blitz literally 2 downs out of 3. We haven't seen it much this first series, but they blitz 66% of the time. We'll take a look at this defensive line, and my point was going to be it is a small group. They average only 254 pounds up front, but they do give you some bad plays and some lost yardage plays.
You see the backers, they can run around. Sabb is good. Undersized at 221, but he's active. Now the Sooners again that have had red zone problems in the first 3 games of the year, trying to find pay dirt. 4 minutes into the game. Paul Thompson towards the end zone, and it's nearly intercepted. Justin Rainey, the middle linebacker, nearly picked that off, and the Sooners have to try a field goal.
Well, you know, you want to get this out of your routine, and you see that it was good protection. Paul Thompson holds it, and this is just good pass coverage. You have 5 white jerseys in the vicinity. It looked like it might have been intercepted, but it is not, so Oklahoma should get out of it with 3 points. But the more you do this, the more that it lingers really mentally, and it could nag you all season long.
Garrett Hartley 8 of 9 on field goals. The only miss, of course, the block on the try to win the Oregon game. A 28-yarder. He's got the wind in his back. This is not a problem for Garrett Hartley. That's his 9th field goal, Dean, but too many field goals, not enough touchdowns if you talk to the Sooners and getting inside the red zone. 3-0 Sooners here early, using the field position to get on the board. Oklahoma, 1 possession, 1 score, although it's a 3 on a short field goal at 28 yards by Garrett Hartley.
And really that was a defensive score, if you will, because of the great field position that the Sooner defense gave its counterparts.
Look at Hartley. His last kick was muffed by the Blue Raiders, leading to their field position problems. Again, Middle Tennessee moving into this west-northwest wind in the first quarter. DeMarco McNair, a junior from Thompson, Georgia, gets back to the 20-yard line. Good coverage. Curtis Lofton, kickoff coverage for OU. Let's go down to Sean Kelly on the sideline.
Well, Mitch, the weather, you couldn't ask for a better night. You couldn't ask for a better field to play on, and this work starts early on here in a home game week for the Oklahoma Sooners. Kenny Gajewski and his crew begin about Tuesday, making sure the field is not only cut correctly, but painted correctly as well, and a lot of work goes into it. And that spray gun you see right there moves a couple of 1,000 gallons of paint through its nozzle and getting this beautiful surface ready to go. Grass back here in 1994.
It is a great surface and a very fast surface, as Reggie Smith coming up from his safety position to hold Middle Tennessee to no gain on their run attempt. Actually a loss of 1 back to the 19-yard line.
It is a beautiful surface, and Kenny and his crew do a magnificent job. It's going to be interesting to see what type of effect that Reggie Smith is going to have now that he's back to where he played last year as safety compared to what he has been playing at cornerback.
Middle Tennessee has been a little skewed to the defensive side. They had a 7-6 win to begin the year against Florida International, and the draw play snuffed out. CJIU was there to stop Gross. On the defensive line, Burdine, Coleman, Bennett, IU for the Sooners. Pleasant, Latterman, Alexander. This may be where it starts as far as trying to get some big plays from those 3 linebackers. And then you mentioned the move of Reggie Smith to strong safety. And the good news is he goes to strong safety. The bad news is you don't have him at corner anymore.
Yeah, he really got to where he shut down his side of the field. They had to play the other half or 2/3.
Clint Marks, the senior quarterback. 3rd down and 10. The slant, excellent catch is made by Bobby Williams of the Blue Raiders. And it's a gain of 15 yards in front of Lindy Holmes and a Middle Tennessee 1st down.
Nice throw and catch. Sometimes those are just simply hard to cover, but there was some space between the receiver and the cornerback, Lindy Holmes, and that's clearly an area that Oklahoma is going to have to improve at, and improve at quickly.
You look at Bobby Williams, 7 catches against Maryland. This Middle Tennessee team really played Maryland off its feet in College Park and lost that game 24-10. They played Missouri to an overtime game in Columbia a couple years ago. Again, same pattern, excellent catch, and now a big play opportunity. all the way down to the Sooner 42-yard line. Again, it's Bobby Williams. Zach Latimer had to make the tackle, a missed tackle by Lindy Holmes.
Well, and that's what got Oklahoma last week. You know, one play, Lindy Holmes can be in a good position, and this time he is out of position, and it's he's unable to make the tackle. But I'm thinking back to last week, and Mitch, you'll remember that Oklahoma had a good play the first down against Oregon, and on the second down, it was a play that later was defended for -1 with a nice tackle by a cornerback. But last week, the second play goes for 67 yards, a similar play.
I think that's what's been maddening for Bob Stoops so far, is just the consistency, or the lack thereof, on defense. Gross trying to run it left, fumbles the ball, and the Sooners got it. Calvin Thibodeau jumping on the football for the Sooners. Rufus Alexander with a big play, knocking it loose from Eugene Gross.
Well, it's a great start by the defense and a great start by Rufus Alexander. He did strip this ball out, as we will see. He is much more active tonight. Looks like his motor is going from the start, as I know they have been emphasizing that the defense has to get off to a faster start. Last week, of course, Oregon coughed up the 4 turnovers. The defense, in that sense, did its part. They did give up 501 yards, which was a killer. But again, 4 turnovers from Oregon is enough to win, especially when your team has 0 turnovers.
Play action pass by Thompson. He's got a man over the middle, and he overthrows Joaquin Iglesias. Wide open on the deep crossing pattern. The Sooners now even in the giveaway takeaway. They came in -1 with 7 turnovers and 6 takes, but now with that fumble recovery, they're even up. But Thompson missed Iglesias.
Well, the good thing about that play is that it was a good play call. It was a good play action and good protection. Paul Thompson stepped up nicely, and the receiver ran a good route and was open. The only thing, and the most important thing really, is that the quarterback didn't have it there. Paul Thompson, the one thing he has not done a good job of is that occasionally he has balls like that sail on him.
Slip screen, Iglesias, 2 downfield blocks, gets to the Blue Raider 40. And then finally the Raiders pounce on him, but it's a gain of 13 yards to the Blue Raider 35. Bradley Robinson over there defending. A safe pass for Thompson here, and good downfield blocking by Iglesias' wide receiver teammates.
Iglesias came in last year, and Malcolm Kelly was expected to be the young guy who would get all of the attention, but he was hurt, and the ball goes quickly out for a little screen to Joaquin Iglesias, who did have a fast start last year, and he's 6'1", 201, so a big, strong receiver, and also, Mitch, he is the fastest of the receivers.
Malcolm Kelly with a good downfield block. 1st and 10 for the Sooners midway through the first quarter. Bootleg play. Thompson's been good at running these and sings it down the field on the money this time. Iglesias with the catch at the Blue Raider 19-yard line. A 16-yard pickup and a well-executed boot. Roy Polite defending for Middle Tennessee.
Well, this might be Oklahoma's best play because, you know, you've got AD back there, and he is going to make people respect him. I mean, if you don't, then you end up just pumping the ball to 28 all night long. So they have to respect him. Paul Thompson, if he can scoot around the edge, which most of the time he will because of the play fake, then he is on the run, and as you said, he throws it well on the run.
Sooners inside the red zone again. Last time had to settle for a field goal. Peterson has nothing this time. Rainey stacks it in there along with Carmichael. Also Tavares Jones for Middle Tennessee.
I think what you're going to see from Middle Tennessee is a lot of plays at Oklahoma. They will look ugly. You're going to see some blitzes that will hurt the Sooners, but you're also going to occasionally see a gash where you're going to see Peterson bust loose for something big, or maybe a tight end down a seam.
Peterson 6 carries 28 yards here in the first quarter. Sooners leading 3-0 on a short field goal by Garrett Hartley. 2nd and 9 here for Paul Thompson, calling an audible. Chase Beeler, the true freshman, at center. Thompson with his pocket set, has Malcolm in the end zone. It's a Sooner touchdown. Malcolm Kelly gets his 4th touchdown this season, and this time the Sooners score inside the 20-yard line.
Well, that is really nice job by the Oklahoma offense, by the quarterback, and also by the coaches on the sideline who got the signal in for the audible. And it worked. It got Malcolm Kelly open in the end zone, and this was a ball that was thrown with some velocity. Nice job all the way around. And last year, and really early this year, Adrian Peterson has taken a little heat for blocking that play. A nice job of adjusting before the snap to get into position, and then the great play fake block.
Derek Shaw's the long snapper. Hayes McEachern with the hold and Hartley with the kick. 10-0 Oklahoma, and twice now, Dean, they've had the short field and they score twice with 6:37 left in the first quarter. A fumble recovery by Thibodeau of the Sooners. Rufus Alexander forcing the fumble gave the Sooners a short field, and OU cashes in on a 19-yard touchdown pass from Paul Thompson to Malcolm Kelly.
You know, the bottom line with Oklahoma offensively is that if teams are going to go ahead and run an 8-man front and go ahead and sneak another safety or you know, basically have 9 men at the line of scrimmage, then you can't continue to stuff it up there. They'll go ahead and run Peterson as much as possible, especially late in the game when he physically can take over. But they're not going to continue to do that if they're going to be seams and other places that are open in the secondary, and that's what happened there, Mitch.
Well, you keep the fox out of the hen house when you can do that, and the protection was good that time as well for the offensive line. One thing I was going to mention, when I looked at Paul Thompson on tape week to week, he's improving and seeing down the field.
Yeah.
And you've done it. You know, those guys in front of you sometimes can distract you, but the good ones feel the pressure up front but then look down the field.
I think that's the most amazing thing about his transition from being a wide receiver a year ago and coming back to play quarterback.
Middle Tennessee hadn't done much on offense other than 2 slant plays until this play. They go up the middle, and Gross with a big run at the 39-yard line, a gain of 19 yards. Eugene Gross. Nick Harris had to make the tackle. Now, you've seen this before. Washington busts a 54-yarder on the first play from scrimmage a couple weeks ago.
Well, the Sooner defense giving up big plays, and that is what is getting them beat. It is just a killer, and sometimes it can be they are blocked right there. I mean, Oklahoma is flat blocked. Sometimes you have players not in the right gaps, and that's what the coaches have been saying has been the problem. But that time they were blocked, and Reggie Smith missed a potential tackle. DJ Wolf in now, number 25 on one of the corners.
This time the Sooners do defeat the blockers and get 4 different guys to the football. Gross has nothing. In fact, he loses 2. Back to the 37. Rufus Alexander shows up again and got help on the play from Larry Burdine. Alexander, the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year and a Butkus Award candidate. Clint Marks. Middle Tennessee's had some good quarterbacks. Kelly Holcomb moved on to the NFL. Jonathan Quinn. 10 minutes into the game, Marks under pressure and nearly intercepted. He was looking for DeMarco McNair over the middle, but Oklahoma bringing the heat.
Oklahoma is playing faster, it seems. Really coming out at it, and there's a guy, there he is, DJ Wolf, number 25. He was a running back and came in with Peterson's class and didn't want a red shirt. They've been playing him. Last year he was an outstanding cornerback, but he's not gotten off to a good start. He's lost his job, but now that they moved Reggie Smith back to safety, he's going to get a chance to play some, and partly because Lindy Holmes had the poor play a while ago.
Middle Tennessee's had 3 big plays, 2 slants and a run by Gross. They got 3rd and long here. They try to protect Marks, and he's going to be sacked. Zach Latimer with the sack, his 6th of his career, and Oklahoma again forcing Middle Tennessee to punt.
Middle Tennessee has been sack prone. That is number 10 on the season. Zach Latimer can run. He's a little undersized. He has not tackled as well as they would like this year. Speed is not a problem, and that kind of tackle he's going to get to, and he'll do a better job of tackling because they're focusing on it. But that's a nice start defensively.
A -12 on the sack by Latimer. Colby Smith to punt. You see Reggie Smith. 62-yard punt return against Washington. Colby Smith, a good punter. He's on the Ray Guy list. One of the top punters in the country, and he gets this one and gets all of it about over Reggie Smith's head. And the Blue Raiders down it at the 23-yard line. So an outstanding punt that time. Back Colby Smith of 50 yards into the wind. 12 minutes into the game, the Sooners have had 2 possessions. They've got 2 scores. Back in Norman, the Sooners leading Middle Tennessee 10-0. 2 possessions, 2 scores for the Sooners. A 28-yard field goal by Garrett Hartley and a 19-yard pass from Paul Thompson to Malcolm Kelly. You see Paul Thompson in his numbers. 3 of 5, 47 yards. The touchdown to Malcolm Kelly. Numbers wise, decent again. 60% completion percentage so far this year. 6 TDs. He has thrown 3 interceptions. All the result of protection breakdowns. Again on play action. Guns it deep and Kelly's waiting on it. Malcolm Kelly. Polite has a chance to get him and does so, just pushing him out at the 3. So the Sooners go long. Jonathan Harris saved a touchdown, but an outstanding throw off play action, Dean, from Paul Thompson.
Big plays are going to be there tonight for the Sooners as they go 2 tights. And they had 2 guys open, but deep is where you're going to look first, as you mentioned. Thompson doing a great job there, and this one gets out to Kelly. And it's interesting because last week on a 3rd and critical, he was able to bobble a catch, and he got it and goes out of bounds. And it was one of the few replay calls that was actually good. This time, did I miss something? Was it a bad call?
The Sooners have 1st and goal at the 3. Here's a fade. Thompson and Kelly getting something going on. This one's well defended by Polite. Jumping on the back of Malcolm Kelly. But all of a sudden now Thompson getting into a rhythm with Malcolm Kelly, the sophomore receiver from Longview, Texas.
Sooners tonight, I think the tight ends will have a good game. And that last throw, the deep throw to Kelly, they had Joe John Finley, number 19, and number 18, Jermaine Gresham, in a very, very talented and big true freshman tight end. Keep an eye on those 2, especially Gresham on the goal line.
Good looking young player, Adrian Peterson, big long touchdown. TD, his 5th of the year. And the Sooners, 3 scores, 3 touchdowns. The 71-yard pass play sets it up. You mentioned OU's ability, though, now to keep defenses, if they can, off balance. We've seen play action passes on 1st down. The 71-yarder setting this up.
Well, that's the key, and that's what the OU defense has had a problem with, being kept off balance all season, and Sooner offense able to do that here.
Hartley's got the point after. 17-0 Oklahoma.
I think that we see the answer to the question where the Sooners going to come ready, Mitch. Very good job there. Duke Robinson, 72, was his man, and really no one touches Adrian Peterson. And then usually if there's only one guy there that has a shot at him near the goal line, he's going to get in. And when no one's there, he's certainly going to get in.
And well blocked by the offensive line. And the Sooners with a 17-0 lead. Peterson 31 yards rushing, but 91 yards receiving in the 1st quarter for Malcolm Kelly. Let's go to Sean Kelly.
Determined by mascots alone, he better start sizing up the rings for Oklahoma. Back on September the 12th, this is what occurred on Fox Sports Net's Best Damn Sports Show, period. Of course, you've got Boomer and Sooner representing the fine folks here in Norman up against another perennial favorite, Ohio State's Buckeye, and not to mention a Georgia Tech and ACC representation. But certainly when you look at the competition and how it went out, a very acrobatic Sooner seemed to do the trick. What you didn't see there was the backflip to show that he's not just one-trick pony. Mitch?
Well, enough to correct you, but our huge audience in Wisconsin knows that's Bucky Badger out there, buddy. So Bucky Badger, that's an upset to beat Bucky Badger in that competition. Another touchback on the kickoff by Hartley. So Middle Tennessee will have it, trailing 17-0.
You know, Hartley has been an outstanding kicker for the Sooners each of the past 2 years, but you know, last week he had a couple of critical kicks that were kicked out of bounds that gave Oregon a short field, and tonight he's got the wind, getting a couple of them through the end zone. Needs to consistently get it back there, which he's done for the most part this season.
Marks intercepted. Zach Latimer, touchdown, Oklahoma. It is the 23rd defensive touchdown. In the 8 years the Sooners have been coached by Bob Stoops. A 20-yard pick for a score by Zach Latimer.
Sooners were burned a couple of times on a couple of slant passes. And this time, I think there's been some film study and preparation here. Great job, Zach Latimer, who dropped a ball that was fairly easily catchable in the game at Oregon. I keep going back to that game because it was such a big ball game, but the first play of the game offensively for Oregon, he didn't catch the ball. This time makes a terrific play and the touchdown.
A trademark of Bob Stoops football has been defense as a weapon. Defensive scores going all the way back to his days as defensive coordinator at Florida and Kansas State, and certainly here. Last year, 13 interceptions for the Sooners, 3 were returned for touchdowns. This is the first one this year, and the third interception, Latimer reading it all the way.
This was a different route. This was not the slant route that I thought they had been running that Holmes was unable to make the tackle on. This was one that shouldn't have been thrown. Quarterback either didn't see through the trash, or he just made a bad read and threw it into traffic. But still, a great job by Oklahoma.
And a 24-0 lead and a shell shock Clint Marks. Now keep in mind, Middle Tennessee has been a team that has competed against the 6 major conferences very well. They came into this game. They beat Florida International, one of their Sun Belt Conference opponents, 7-6. But Florida International is very athletic, not to be confused with Florida Atlantic. And then they played Maryland off its feet. But already the Sooners have scored as many points as Maryland did in that entire contest in College Park. These kick returns have been a mystery as well for the Blue Raiders. And McNair, 9 yards deep, will fumble. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. So the Sooners get a defensive score. Again, the 23rd under Bob Stoops. And if you're the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee under first-year coach Rick Stockstill, you just kind of have to take a deep breath and get your feet underneath you.
Well, you know, if Oklahoma can get to where the defense, and there's every reason to believe that the Oklahoma defense will improve as the season goes along. It did last year. Jackie Shipp's guys up front, which have been part of the problem this year, they have historically gotten better every year. If the defense comes along, Oklahoma will be a very good football team.
Rufus Alexander makes his 3rd nice play of the first quarter. Middle Tennessee was not going to hide anything there. They just load up in 2 tights and try to get something running the ball. But Alexander is showing up tonight.
Speaking of Jackie Shipp's down linemen, they were able to do their job, get in the backfield. Their gaps were covered and freed the linebackers up. The linebackers have been covered a lot this season by the offensive linemen because of not being as good up front with their defensive line.
Middle Tennessee, 7 rushes, -3, and they're going to be penalized here. That might be on the Sooners. Might be offside a free play as Zach Latimer tackling DeMarco McNair, and it might be 5 free yards for Middle Tennessee. First penalty of the game. Tom Walker. The infraction against the Sooners. We mentioned on the outset, though, the Sooners defensively, Brett Venables wanted to clean it up, as he phrased it.
Yeah.
This has been an explosive first quarter for this defense, something that they need with the bye week next week and then going into Texas to start Big 12 play.
You know, I think what we're seeing is the answer to what really frustrated Bob Stoops this week, and more on that after this play.
2nd and 5 for Clint Marks. Again, this kid was 2nd in the country last year in completion percentage. A Davey O'Brien candidate. Using the shotgun. Excellent defense again. That second level of the defense playing well. Wow. Zach Latimer right there.
Terrific play by Latimer. Lofton is going to be in a lot this afternoon, this evening. Number 40 at linebacker, but Latimer off to a great start. My point was going to be, let's watch this replay and watch number 46 sense what's going to happen and sense the ball coming. He is able to jump in front of it and tip that football. No interference there. I'm going to get this point out sooner or later. I may hold it for a time.
Keep that
Tell
thought.
you during a commercial.
Good talk. 3rd down and 5. 24-0 Sooners, including a defensive touchdown. Marks. It's nailed as he throws it. It's incomplete. Nick Harris, the nickelback, defending on the slant intended to Jonathan Grigsby, and Middle Tennessee's got to punt the ball. A lot of pressure from the Sooners.
Again, playing fast. Pressure coming on the quarterback. Nick Harris had the 2 interceptions a week ago, and this is a guy that is all business. He's going to be a star before his days are over. Oklahoma's going to have some balls thrown in their hands, it looks like.
Wolf defending the pass. It was a zone dog by the Sooners, and Thibodeau is actually dropping back into coverage. Now Colby Smith, who had a 50-yard punt into the wind the last time. This is a decent punt as Reggie Smith wants to return this one. Smith ankle tackle from behind. The Sooners will take over 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. A 44-yard punt into the wind by Colby Smith.
Reggie Smith, a natural. This guy can just do it all. He'll play some receiver, maybe not as much because the Sooners are getting healthier at wide receiver, but he'll play some wide receiver for the Sooners, but he can do everything.
It's funny what Kevin Wilson yesterday was talking about. When is he available? You know, Kevin's up there going, can he go? Can
Yeah,
he go? Let's put him out there.
Yeah, well, he's got to come tell Kevin when he's ready to go, right?
Absolutely. New Sooners in there. In fact, Jermaine Gresham now in at tight end. And a slant mishandle. Polite thinks he's got it, and he does. An interception. 4th pick thrown this year by Thompson. The pass a little behind the intended receiver, but Middle Tennessee gets a turnover. No, they're going to rule it now incomplete. So no interception. But Fred Strong, the intended receiver.
You know, had that been an interception, that would have been the 4, as you mentioned. Each one of them, none would have been the fault of Paul Thompson. That's what's frustrating. You know, the others were, I think there was contact in the backfield, weren't there? All of them?
Absolutely. All of them protection issues.
Oh, review. Oh, no. There you see the crowd reaction.
That's the worst thing they could say other than income tax here by this officiating crew. 24-0 Oklahoma. 51 seconds left in the quarter.
This gives me time to go back to that point that Bob Stoops, I think, has been frustrated this week. His team has come out and responded. They obviously have not been. They've not gotten carried away with all of this talk about what happened last week. The national media has really pounced on it, and us locally have talked about it because people want to hear more about it. But Bob Stoops' weekly press luncheon on Tuesday was the last time he commented on the debacle at Oregon. Since then, he said no comment. His players have had no comment, and the national media has continued to say, why doesn't he be quiet? Why does Oklahoma not quit whining? Oklahoma hasn't said anything since Tuesday.
That's crazy.
And
incomplete pass.
Hey, you think that replay official's going to call interception, by the way?
No.
But anyway, can you imagine how frustrating that would be to come off of what happened at Oregon and basically all of a sudden you're the bad guy and you haven't said anything about it since Tuesday, and they're all saying he better take care of his team and see if he can get them ready. I think we're seeing that Oklahoma is ready.
But this day and age, in a sports-thirsty crowd, I should say, what you say can be used against you all week long. Peterson off tackle, gains 8 yards, hit hard. Second effort moving forward, but he'll gain 8. Marked down at the 46-yard line. Dana Stewart, the strong safety, there to put a strong hit on Adrian Peterson.
An example of showing you that the defense is ready. Oklahoma's been giving up an average of 396 yards a game. That's a rate of 148 per quarter. Right now, the Sooners have given up 37 yards.
Sean Kelly talked about the Sooners wanting to get off to a good start. They have done just that. 24-0, including a defensive touchdown. Thompson, 3rd and short. Peterson cuts it back and has a first down. He's into Blue Raider territory at the 45. It's an 8-yard pickup. Tavares Jones, the defensive end, forced him out of bounds. The touches this guy has had, Dean, amazes me. Because already in this game, he's touched it 9 times on the ground, coming in 667 touches in 2+ years. And that's with 4 games he missed last year because of injury.
Yeah, he is close to catching Billy Sims, relatively close for him, the way he picks up yardage per game. And this is only, of course, his junior season.
He is a prototypical tailback. You see how deep he lines up. 8 yards deep in that setup. Thompson's been good off play action all night long. This one he floats up there. Catch by Malcolm Kelly. What a night he's having. It's first and goal to go Sooners at the 2-yard line.
Hey, Malcolm Kelly is having a night, but I'm telling you, that quarterback threw it from Oklahoma's 40-yard line to the 5-yard line of Middle Tennessee. He didn't quite throw it on a rope, but he threw it perfectly. This is the best throw that Paul Thompson has made this season.
And again, decent coverage by Middle Tennessee, but the throw and the catch perfectly executed. The Sooners getting ready to score again. At the end of the first quarter, 24-0 Sooners. Sooners have been drilling that red zone stat after they were in the red zone and had to kick a field goal the first possession. They've had a defensive score, but 2 other offensive scores inside the red zone. They got another chance here. First and goal at the 2. Peterson hit, driving, and there's the strength of AD. All day, all night. 30-0 Sooners.
Well, it's Oklahoma tonight making the big plays and keeping its opponent's defense off balance. And after having to settle for the field goal, now punching in the touchdowns, and Adrian Peterson not to be corralled.
And you mentioned, well, we talked off air, he's got 50 yards here, and we played 4 seconds into the second quarter. Now the guy who's really having a night is Malcolm Kelly. 134 yards receiving in the first quarter. The school record's 190 for a game by Mark Clayton against Texas in 03 in that blowout win. Harley with another point after. He's going to have an ingrown toenail if he has to keep kicking like this all night. 31-0 Oklahoma. This is exactly the kind of game Bob Stoops wanted to get some confidence back in this football team.
Well, Mitch, I know you've talked several times about the fact that this isn't, you know, Sisters of the Poor over there. This is a club that comes in only a 27-point underdog. So Oklahoma has jumped out to 31 here, and after one play of the second quarter.
And again, Oklahoma with a defensive touchdown from Zach Latimer. Something they have yet to put on the board prior to tonight. Middle Tennessee, the head coach Rick Stockstill in his first year did not have a full complement of scholarships to use this year, but he's done a good job of recruiting and will be a factor in the Sun Belt Conference. Already 1-0 in the Sun Belt. Stockstill, pretty good resume. Coaching with Steve Spurrier, as did Bob Stoops. Also Tommy Bowden at Clemson. Played for Bobby Bowden at Florida State.
Quarterback.
Yeah. Do you see what his minor was in?
No.
Driver's education.
Really?
Can you get a minor in driver's education? I guess at Florida State you can. Here Hartley's coming into the win this time. So a chance for DeMarco McNair to return this one. And McNair gets a decent return to the 30-yard line.
The Sooners have been a quick striking offense. Doesn't take them long to go score, and same thing that happened there. Oklahoma 5 plays a minute 13. And in the first quarter, Oklahoma only had the ball a total of 5 minutes and 56 seconds. So they were almost doubled up. And still, you're looking at a shutout.
Marks 3 for 9. He's already thrown a pick that was returned for a score. Came into the game 42 of 78. Blue Raiders stay in the shotgun. The center defense has been angry tonight. Throws, fumbles the ball. Oklahoma's got it. They're going to rule him down, but the Sooners will have the ball at the 28-yard line of Middle Tennessee. Rufus Alexander is everywhere tonight, playing like a Butkus candidate.
This is a play that has caused Oklahoma some trouble. This is not necessarily a great defensive play other than being heads up. This is just a bobble by the quarterback and the running back.
So Middle Tennessee beating Vanderbilt last year, being competitive against Maryland this year. is just getting nailed here by the Sooners. 31-0 early in the second quarter. Peterson attacks the outside and gets to the 21, gaining 7.
That play is so effective for Oklahoma most of the time, but especially late in games because Peterson can get to that corner so quickly. He gets a lot of good blocking, but he gets out there, and later in ball games, teams are worn down, and so they can't get out there, especially the bigger guys, and he cuts it back inside. And I tell you what, Mitch, he is as good a player as I've seen really at any time of the game, but certainly in fourth quarter action.
Amazing 32 carries against Washington, 34 against Oregon. His best quarters in the fourth, but here all of a sudden he gets yanked down. Trevor Jenkins, his second tackle for a loss in this game.
Well, they're going to blitz you. They're going to call some plays. We mentioned that earlier. And they're also going to give them up. They're going to leave their corners out there and one-on-one. And Kevin Wilson told us that they were going to be getting the ball down the field and also looking for those tight ends, which they've not gotten to now. Early in the season, they did get to Joe John Finley. And tonight, perhaps get back to some of that.
3rd and long here now for Thompson, something he's been able to avoid tonight. Thompson getting the call from the sideline from offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson. They want the screen. Peterson and excellent play by the safety Dana Stewart. That's a second big hit of the first half.
Also, yeah, that really was. That was great anticipation defensively because Oklahoma has not thrown it to Peterson that much. And if he gets any room out there in space, he is very difficult to handle.
Oh, you thinking about going for it here. They got 4th and 11 at the 29 of Middle Tennessee. Now, keep in mind the Sooners are moving into the wind. A north-northwest wind that is a factor.
46-yard field goal. 4th and 11 is a pretty big chunk.
Hartley's had a good year, but it'd be real stout into this wind. Sooners going for it. 4th and 11. Thompson. Time. Completion made, but short of a first down at the 22. Yeah, Manuel Johnson.
Yeah.
Manuel Johnson made the catch, but Middle Tennessee takes over on downs.
Well, you've got to look downfield, Fred Strong, but you've got to look to Malcolm Kelly on that play. And even if it's a force to get the ball in there, really it's a lucky play if you throw that ball to number 1 and are able to pick it up.
Timeout on the field. 31-0. Oklahoma still early in the second. Oklahoma drilling Middle Tennessee here 31-0 early in the second quarter. It's the first time this year the Sooners have gone for it on 4th down and not made it. But Middle Tennessee with the hold on defense. Now offensively the Blue Raiders have 5 yards rushing, trying to get something going, and they won't right here. DeMarcus Granger stops McNair for a loss back at the 19. It's a loss of 3.
Granger's just going to have to turn into a man. He is a guy who came in highly recruited, and he has big-time potential. He and Corey Bennett, the most physical of the guys up front. He can bench press the building, and he can squat 550.
Does he have the most upside of the defensive lineman, you think?
I think so. I think so.
2nd down and 12. Marks, who wanted to hand it off to somebody. Then he turned around and had that sick feeling that nobody was back there. Only Zach Latimer. It's another loss for the Blue Raiders back at the 14.
You know, it's a team effort when it comes to the pass game. The secondary has been torched some this year, and part of the reason is there has not been a good rush. Now here there's pretty good coverage, and so the quarterback is totally confused, and there has to have been a bust up front for a linebacker to free up that much.
Just thinking handoff, shovel pass, nothing going. He's had 2 slant completions for big yardage. He's in the pocket here, under pressure. 3 negative plays for Middle Tennessee. Backed all the way up to the 10. Latimer and Nick Harris, the nickelback, who's been after the quarterback tonight. 3 losses in a row for Middle Tennessee State.
Nick Harris, a nice job in getting into the backfield. He had to circle back around to be part of that tackle, but he was able to do it. Again, good coverage down there, but I think the quarterback is just totally intimidated.
Calvin Thibodeau think I get my tail chewed. Now Marks has to punt again here. It is the 4th punt of the evening for Clint Marks. Punting with the wind at his back, and Reggie Smith licking his chops.
Crowd is too as they chant Reggie, Reggie.
Returnable kick. Marks trying to go to the boundary. Oh my goodness, what a hit. Outstanding coverage as the hit made by Reggie Doucette right in the grill of Reggie Smith.
You got to be a special breed of cat to be a punt returner, and to be a great one you've got to take some risks, don't you?
You do, and that one was right in the chops. Let's go down to Sean Kelly.
You know, Mitch and Dean, of course, coaching in front of 80,000 people can be quite a thrill, but so can being welcomed by the United States Navy's Blue Angels tactical fighter drill team. And this was back on May the 10th. Following spring ball, Coach Stoops got the opportunity to go down to Texas and take a little ride, shall we say. He says he didn't black out, but maybe just for a second. Of course, they call the tester this thing right here, guys. It's down the runway and then straight up in the air. If you can survive that, you'll be just fine. And a big smile there from Coach Stoops.
I hope he didn't have anything to eat before that.
You know, he said for a defensive back that was nothing.
Well, he had some hard hits at Iowa. He delivered them and he received them. But did you see him look at the instrument panel like he knew what that was? Peterson again trying the left side. Middle Tennessee is going to force him for a loss here. After AD had picked up 6 on the first down play, he loses a couple here. Danny Carmichael there covering for Middle Tennessee. See how pale Bob was though? He's looking at that instrument panel going, geez, okay.
Yeah, and that was the summer where his golf tan is supposed to be evident.
Paul Thompson, what a job he has done. Coaches were talking about it yesterday. He was the backup. Then his red shirt's pulled off. Then he goes back into a red shirt year. He plays wide receiver. He loses the game last year against TCU. Then he's the guy. He's done an outstanding job here this year so far, quarterback for the Sooners. 31-0 OU. Thompson, Kelly, enough. The 35. Gain of 12 yards and a Sooner first down as Kelly just keeps chalking the numbers up.
I tell you, Kelly's a superstar. He will only get better. He's got all the tools, but he has a great feel for the game, a great sense of where he is. Watch that right foot come down quickly. You know, some guys just get it, and he gets it.
Big game against the Huskies of Washington. 6 catches, 121 yards. Followed it up, averaging 22 yards of reception against the Ducks of Oregon. First down, OU. AD trying the right side, and a loss of 1 back at the 36. J.K. Sabb gets his 7th tackle for a loss this season. It's a pretty good defender out of Augusta, Georgia, senior.
Well, just committing 8 people to the run, so Oklahoma will have to continue to try to go up top, and you know, it may take a couple of chunks, but Oklahoma is going to get it in the air for the most part tonight.
Mid-second, 31-0 Sooners. Also a defensive score for OU. They go up the gut this time. And Peterson is down to the Middle Tennessee 28. Bradley Robinson keeps him short of a first down, but it will be 3rd and short for OU.
You know, Stewart, the great running back at Oregon last week, was talking about Peterson, about how amazed at how he exploded off the ball, and how from the I formation he's like a rocket getting into the line of scrimmage and into the defenses, into the secondary quite often.
And see how deep he backs up, 8 yards deep to get his momentum going, and he loses his helmet here, I think. No, one of the linemen did. Chris Messner lost his helmet. Danny Carmichael holds Adrian Peterson short of a first down. Just a gain of 1, and again 4-down territory for the Sooners.
Peterson does not have much. A good job up front. More numbers defensively than Oklahoma can block.
Just a power O play where Messner missed his block.
Right, he missed it. Linebacker filled the gap.
4th down. Sooners 2 of 3 this season on 4th down conversions. Peterson galloping for the first down plus. to the 22-yard line. A gain of 5. They only needed 2. Walden makes the tackle, but OU keeps possession.
I like that play, and you like Peterson, but for the fact that he knows not to let that play get strung out, because he is terrific when he gets to the corner and is able to turn it with his speed. But boy, Mitch, he knew better than to get it outside to bounce it too far. He jumped up inside and knew he had the first down, and he's so good and able to shake those tackles. He often can get on into the end zone anyway.
A lot of power, 6'2", 218, but tremendous speed and power. He's going to get it again. Staying busy tonight. Middle Tennessee doing a better job on this drive of keeping him away from the big run. It's going to be a gain of 1 on the play. Justin Rainey, this time the Mike backer in the middle of that Middle Tennessee defense, gets the stop.
Adrian with the rarely to see a helmet off of AD, because he had 71 snaps last week.
There's an injured player. It appears that Middle Tennessee's got a man down. Trevor Jenkins, we've seen him make a couple plays tonight, is down. 31-0 OU, late second. Oklahoma all over Middle Tennessee here, 31-0. Big crowd loving this one. Been a tough week on Sooner fans. Thompson 8 of 12, 179 passing. Peterson 70 yards on the ground. Impressively, Malcolm Kelly 146 yards receiving in the first half. Middle Tennessee taking Trevor Jenkins out of the game, and you got a new running back for the Sooners. As Alan Patrick is in for Adrian Peterson on 2nd and 10. Thompson to throw over the middle of the big freshman tight end Jermaine Gresham has his first touchdown as a Sooner.
Well, did you see that safety collide, and he just bounced off? It was nothing. Great job by Patrick in helping in protection, and another audible touchdown, or an audible big play for the Sooners. This number 18 is going to be around for a while, and he will make some big plays. He is 6'7" and plenty heavy, and can run and has great hands. They call him 250 right now.
How fast is he, Dean? What's his
Plenty.
40?
He's 4.65.
Because he has the body of Vernon Davis, you know, the tight end that came out of Maryland last year. He's now with the San Francisco 49ers. And with that kind of size and speed, you're going to take care of your red zone problems in a hurry. Gresham, the freshman, has a touchdown. 38-0 Oklahoma. 38-0 Sooners. And Paul Thompson is putting up some numbers, Dean. 9 of 13, 201, 2 touchdowns, and still 5:22 to play in the first half.
Well, he's been very, very smart. The line has helped him, but he has also audibled a couple of times, and some of that's not him. He's able to look at over to the sideline, and Josh Heupel is able to help. Sometimes it's Kevin Wilson helping audible, but he's been able to get them into formation and take advantage of defensive positions.
Desmond G bringing the kickback for Middle Tennessee, and he gets destroyed and fumbles the football. And Oklahoma's got it. Middle Tennessee tonight absolutely melting down on offense and special teams. G fumbles it, and Lindy Holmes has it, and Oklahoma has a chance to get over 40 yards, or 40 points, I should say, in the first half here.
40 yards, you say 40 points. Oklahoma's going to have more points than the Blue Raiders do yards. In fact, they do right now. 22 total yards for Middle Tennessee.
This is uncharacteristic of the Blue Raiders to play this way, but a big hit.
And that's Curtis Lofton, and the Sooners just love him. The coach is saying yesterday he splatters people, and he did just there.
Including splattering G's helmet. Desmond G got frozen by that hit by Lofton, and the Sooners have it back. Another turnover by Middle Tennessee. Adrian Peterson slashing. Held a short yardage to the 21, gaining 3. Marcus Brandon defending for the Blue Raiders.
Well, Peterson's having to work to get his yardage, and despite the fact he has 70 yards and a couple of touchdowns, he's had to carry it 19 times, so that tells you how much they're focusing on Peterson. But Thompson able to take advantage of where they're not covering.
2nd and 8. And the blitz, and they blitz right into the play. J.K. Sabb nailing Adrian Peterson. Let's go down to Sean Kelly, who's got the unfortunate circumstance of trying to interview Sherry Cole. Somebody's got to do it.
Of the year, you know, with lots of good news for Oklahoma tonight, Mitch and Dean, but there always seems to be good news around this basketball program, the Oklahoma women's basketball program led by head coach Sherry Cole. You know, everybody says basketball is right around the corner there, coach, but it seems to me it's already underway.
Feels like it. These people are really excited, and I'm excited about that. Had a record sales for season tickets, and our kids are in individual workouts right now, and October 13th is not far away.
The number 3 preseason ranking, pressure, good news, bad news, what is it for you?
Oh, great news. I love that. The higher expectations people have of us, the more we like it.
Boy, you got to like your Paris twins, huh? And that it should be interesting to see the progression from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, you know, the kind of year Courtney had, everybody wants to know what can she do to top it. And there's so many little things that she's already improved upon. And I think Ashley was probably our most improved player in the gym over the spring and summer. So we're excited to see what they do as sophomores.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you so much.
You know, they hung a banner upstairs in that workout facility for the 2006 championship. Maybe they'll get another one next year.
Don't tell me how hard it is to be a sideline reporter. Because if you get to interview Sherry Cole, it is a blessing. I was saying, and she led Chapel today. I was with the Oklahoma team, and she led Chapel. What a grand lady, and what a great job she's done here. And really not only has charmed the Sooner land, but really the rest of the country. And when it comes to Division I women's basketball,
None better, and none better than that guy tonight. Speaking of none better, they're just kind of rotating the pictures. Thompson and Peterson and company on a roll tonight.
OU with the timeout call. They still have 3:31 left in the half. There's a look at Bob Stoops. Has to be enjoying his evening a whole lot better than even all first 3 games this year. Hey, this will be his first half lead, won't it?
Well, yeah, it's a game where, you know, Sean was talking off the top about Oklahoma and its slow starts. Not tonight, because at least 38-0 when they go into the locker room.
At least he won't be chewing on aspirin going into halftime. 3rd and 14 here for Paul Thompson. Throwing into the wind. He's got Kelly again. It's a first down to the 10. That's a gain of 18 and a first down for the Sooners. And Kelly is threatening the single game Sooner receiving record in the first half.
This is into the wind, and this is not the best spiral, but you know, it's not that bad a pass. I was thinking that it was a wobbler, and it was just a fantastic catch. It is one of those balls that Kelly makes look easy. There was a little traffic in Thompson's face, and sometimes those are a lot easier on television and from the booth than they are on the field.
Peterson pounded. He gets to the 6. Justin Rainey keeps him short of the end zone. Malcolm Kelly, Dean, 5 catches, 164 yards. And again, the all-time game record is 190 by Mark Clayton.
Well, we're going to need to look at the yardage by the quarterback also. 219 yards for Paul Thompson.
2nd and goal, Sooners. Peterson, big hole this time, and it's the 3rd touchdown of the night for AD. A 7-yard TD run, and the Sooners now lead 44-0.
Keep giving it to him, and sooner or later the defense is going to not be there, or you're going to get some great execution. And that time it was great execution by the Oklahoma offensive front. Peterson really didn't have to do much there, although he has had to do a lot tonight to pick up the yardage. And I think we mentioned that it's going to take Paul Thompson making the big plays in the passing game most of the night, and that's what happened again on that drive.
Bartlow's point after is true, and it's 45-0 Oklahoma, and still 2:32 left in the first.
You know, you hear of these quarterbacks converting over to safety or wide receiver like Manuel Johnson, but you don't hear many converting to right tackle.
Garrett Hartley has been busy tonight. He's going to have a deal with Dr. Scholes. Lots of point afters and a lot of kickoffs. OU's been good at covering these. As McNair, with the exception of one kickoff return, McNair's out to the 22. 17-yard return. 45-0.
It's hard to get a good perspective on television sometimes of the effort that these kickoff teams put into it, but Oklahoma keeping the intensity up because they were right down on that kickoff, especially the guys on the outside, and Patrick one of the best for the Sooners.
Middle Tennessee only 3 first downs, 40 passing yards, -18 running it. Marks keeps it, and there's still nowhere to go. Rufus Alexander, Lindy Holmes.
Well, I was watching DeMarcus Granger run down the running back, and he had him for a -1 as well. But John Williams, a nice job there. John Williams is a guy that has moved over from the defensive tackle position after he got hurt last year, moved him out to defensive end, and he's got it in his bloodlines. He's a relative of guys like Michael Johnson and Derek Johnson, Texas, and of course the runner Michael Johnson.
Yeah, Derek Johnson, not a bad player. I get to see him every week as a handoff.
Oh yeah,
goes to Gross, and he is stopped for a gain of 1. You know, that Bert Emanuel, you go down, that's a great family, a bunch of connected cousins and families in mid-Texas.
Yeah, and he's part of that same family.
Third.
Corey Bennett there, number 97, and Bennett is one that you know, can you imagine a guy like that? His vertical is 33 inches. That's pretty good. I'm worried about the ankles, so coming down.
Well, it's been a good night for this entire OU defense, particularly the front 7. Somewhat maligned after a 500-yard performance by the Oregon Ducks last week. Mark's trying to take the clock down as far as he can. He's going to run a quarterback draw on 3rd and long, gets a block. He's short of a first down. Gained 7 yards, but he needed 12. Latimer there as Joe Craddock was the ball carrier and a quarterback for Middle Tennessee.
Latimer closing quickly, and that's a trademark of Oklahoma defenses in the past of not giving up big run plays. That one has been going for 20 or 30 a lot this season, and that one didn't pick up the first down.
And that will end the half. Middle Tennessee does not have to punt. They don't want to punt. Bob Stoops is thrilled. He's got an offense that's been dominant. He's got a defense that's been the same. He's got a defensive touchdown. He's got a receiver with 164 yards receiving. A quarterback who's playing well, and a Heisman Trophy candidate who's playing up to the billing. 45-0 at halftime. The Oklahoma Sooners leading over Middle Tennessee. 82,112 is the capacity, but this is the 20th straight game they've been over capacity. Don't worry about the fire marshals. They're here too. So they've got tickets. We're waiting on a chat as Sean Kelly will try to track down Bob Stoops, the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners.
And Bob will be happy about the defense. minus 11 total yards in the second quarter.
Let's go to Sean Kelly.
Coach, fine first half. There's got to be some modicum of satisfaction. The slow first half so far this year, a big explosive start to this one.
Yes, but you know, it's a 4-quarter game, 60 minutes. You have to play all of them. You're going to have ups and downs in a game. It is good to get off to a good start, but we want to finish well too.
Is there a down in this one so far?
No, everything's been really good, really solid. But you know, we got a lot we need to continue to work on, and I'm sure we'll get some other guys in to have a chance to do some work too.
I really thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob Stoops, guys, a good first half for a ball club that's for the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, only 2 slants caught by Bobby Williams for 37 yards, and that's been about it for Middle Tennessee State. It has been OU dominant, something they're used to in this stadium, trying to get their mojo back after losing last week at Oregon. 45-0 OU. Oklahoma with an outstanding first half, 45-0, absolutely dominating Middle Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee has to kick off to start the third quarter. The Blue Raiders, a team that has a good history. We mentioned last year the big win over Vanderbilt that ruined Vanderbilt's bowl intentions. They played Missouri in 2003 to a double overtime loss in Columbia. in a team that's been a factor in the Sun Belt, trying to get their program going again with Rick Stockstill. They came into this game 2-1. Wins over Tennessee Tech, a 1AA school. They did beat Florida International from their league 7-6. They're not done with tough games. They have Louisville in a game in Nashville coming up in a couple weeks. Short kick. It's going to be taken by Reggie Smith. Smith, of course, is a threat to run everything back. And comes all the way across the field here for the Sooners. He gets whacked down, but an excellent return to the 33. J.K. Sabb, arguably the best defender on the Middle Tennessee team, there to cover it. So the Sooners leading 45-0 will have first possession in the third quarter.
You know, I played with Joe Washington, and there'll never be another Joe Washington, but this guy is really special, and he can run through tackles and see through the first tackler as well as anybody I've seen. Antonio Perkins is someone we can't forget because he was remarkable, but this guy is unique.
And you get the sense you're only starting to see the beginning of it.
Exactly.
Sooners load up. They're going to boot to the strong guy. Get it off. A nice handoff to Adrian Peterson on the weak side and gets a 12-yard gain out to the 46-yard line. Make it 13. Damon Nickerson there as Peterson right away toting the rock to start the third quarter.
Well, it's been a Mel Tillis play-by-play sheet. You know, the past second halves, you know, it'll be Peterson, 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 Peterson. And so this is the first of about 8 to come.
And maybe a few Patricks thrown in there.
Only once before tonight.
Goodness. Well, Peterson again dragging defenders. He's into Middle Tennessee territory and will gain 5 yards. Sabb hanging on for dear life to the 218-pound Adrian Peterson.
I'm sure Bob Stoops at halftime saying keep the focus, keep moving ahead, and really we won't lament too much on this Oregon game. In fact, we haven't at all, but it really is a shame that was a club last week that was going on the road and about to win a game, an upset, and move up in the polls, and you come back this week and you're really clicking on all cylinders. You should be 4-0 and moving up.
Second down. Peterson again. And into the secondary. This one might be the business. 3 Blue Raiders have a shot, and saving the touchdown was Sean Mosley. But now the numbers start to crank for AD. 34-yard run by Adrian Peterson.
And all that is 8 straight 100-yard games as he's closing in on Billy Sims. And look at the moves and the explosion. He can get through the traffic, and then he can run through the arm tackles, and he decides to step it on out of bounds because he knows that Tillis will be back with his consecutive 4th P.
Arguably the best year ever by a freshman running back in NCAA history. Went for 249 in Oklahoma State. He gets it again. This time he'll lose a yard back to the 15-yard line. Dana Stewart's had a decent night for Middle Tennessee from that strong safety position. It was amazing in the Oregon game in the third and fourth quarters, though, how strong Adrian Peterson was against a very good Oregon defense. You mentioned it earlier. He gets stronger as the game goes along, while it seems like opponents go the other way.
I think it was 145 he ran for.
2nd and 11. Thompson slipping it out to Iglesias. 2 downfield blocks. It's an Oklahoma touchdown.
Boy, great blocking out of the corner. Absolutely wonderful blocking.
A 15-yard touchdown pass from Paul Thompson to Joaquin Iglesias. That's Iglesias' first touchdown this season, the 3rd in his career.
Well, you lull them to sleep thinking AD. They've got 8 in the box, and this one just gets out there quickly. Watch Fred Strong and Malcolm Kelly doing his job.
In fact, the Sooner receivers tonight have been good downfield blockers. And Thompson now tonight 3 touchdowns passing. Bartley with a point after. 52-0 Oklahoma. 12:37 left in the third quarter. Well, Oklahoma wanted to pick up some confidence tonight. They're doing that in a plenty. They just pour it on Middle Tennessee, scoring on their first possession of the second half, 52-0. The numbers just chalked up here. The Sooners had three TD passes from Thompson, 11 of 15. Adrian Peterson, 128 yards, 3 touchdowns. Malcolm Kelly might be the all-time single-game receiver after the night's over, the 164. And everything's happening tonight for the Sooners.
Well, and they're not turning the football over. They had 4 turnovers the first game, which Bob Stoops could not stand. They come back in game 2, and they only have 2, and then they go out on the West Coast. They have none against Oregon and none here in the first 2 quarters.
DeMarco McNair on the short kick. It's a couple blocks and springs free across the 35. And one of the better plays Middle Tennessee's had, a return up to the 40-yard line, a 34-yard return by DeMarco McNair. And that's where Middle Tennessee will have 1st and 10. Most points now scored by the Sooners since putting 63 on the board against Houston on September the 11th, 2004. Here at Gaylord Family OU Memorial Stadium. Joe Craddock is going to come in here at quarterback now for Middle Tennessee. Clint Marks done for the night, it appears. Craddock is a sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama. Rough night for Marks. Sets down 3 for 9 for 40 yards and threw a pick that was returned for a touchdown by Zach Latimer. Craddock fires it late, and it's caught by Grigsby. Jonathan Grigsby in Middle Tennessee is in OU territory for the first time tonight. DJ Wolf covering for the Sooners.
Well, that was great poise by Craddock, a lot better than you saw by Marks, who was intimidated by Oklahoma all evening. Oklahoma in pretty good position on that.
So the Blue Raiders finally having some things to go right for them. A kick return and a completion for Joe Craddock. (52-0). Gross, not much. Rufus Alexander comes in the back porch. It's actually a loss of 1.
You really haven't seen Rufus Alexander this active this season, and Middle Tennessee State is not a good offensive football team, but still you have to hustle to make plays, and you know, as coaches will tell you, they're on scholarship too, so they can play a little. And that's just guys playing fast. I know Brent Venables, when we talk with him, talks about playing downhill, just like you talk to offensive coaches about the same thing. And tonight, defensively, they are playing downhill.
Craddock communicating with his center, Paul Cantrell. OU coming on the blitz, and the pass is incomplete, intended for the tight end Clinton Corder. Rufus Alexander has had quite a night. We said a big play defender, need to make big plays. He's done just that.
Well, he's forced a turnover, and he right there was the force. And he just is one of those guys who plays with great instincts, and he is a very physical player as well. Tore up a knee a couple of years ago, but he has come back with a vengeance and is just really, really talented. And he's one of those guys that, what did they tell us in the meeting the other day, that maybe he's one of them that you know, that you get too concerned maybe about the NFL and trying to maybe press too hard.
They went that even with like a Teddy Lehman. Lead draw. That's smashed down for a loss of 1. Darian Williams, who hasn't been that busy tonight because all of his teammates have been doing all the work in front of him. The free safety on a blitz. And with 4th down, Middle Tennessee is going to punt the football.
There have been a lot of players, not only at Oklahoma, but other schools, who are dynamite players their first couple of years, but by the time they reach that senior year and are NFL quality, sometimes there's not necessarily a jinx, but you just start to, I mean, you're around the NFL game. Yep. What is it?
Cameras always worrying. Everybody's always watching. Everybody watches everything. There are scouts watching. They watch endless tape, and those players know they're on tape. And so sometimes you can play too much to the tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of just playing. Right. Just go play the game.
Yeah, and play with instinct, because that's what's gotten these guys to be special players and NFL prospects.
34-yard field position punt by Colby Smith. The Sooners will have the ball when we come back, winning 52-0. Middle Tennessee still chasing the goose. 52-0 Oklahoma here early in the third quarter as the Sooners get the football at their own 15-yard line. One of the few times Oklahoma has had poor field position tonight. As Paul Thompson gives it off to Patrick, who's now in for Adrian Peterson. Special guest with us now in the booth, one of the more famous names in all of college basketball, Jeff Capel. Great player at Duke. His father, of course, a legendary coach, and now the new head basketball coach at University of Oklahoma. Jeff, congratulations. Gonna be raring to go, bud.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're really excited to be here and to get going. It's great to see our football team bounce back after a very tough week last week and having to deal with all the stuff all week with that game to come out with a commanding performance like we have tonight.
45.5, you'd take that even with your squad, probably.
Absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, I think this is going to do our football team really well going into the bye week and then getting ready for the big showdown against Texas.
Adrian Peterson makes the catch now as OU starts to clear its bench a little bit. I want to ask you about your basketball team. Of course, there's some good guys left this program, of course, through graduation, Taj Gray and Bookout. But the guys you got coming back, what about a Michael Neal and what they have to do for you guys to be successful?
Well, obviously, when you lose a group like you lost with those three guys, with Bookout, Everett, and Taj Gray, that's a lot to replace. But we feel like we have some good young talent. Hopefully that talent can get better really quick and improve, and each day try to get better.
Recruiting, you can't really tell us much. I know it was you know, it was a tough start. You were behind the 8 ball, but you kind of turned things around. You kind of plodded your way, and you just kind of accomplish one thing at a time, I guess.
Well, you know, to me, when you're trying to build the program and do it the way that you want to do it and try to do it the right way, then you have to take the proper steps. And when I got here, obviously, with the young men that were signed by the previous staff, 3 of those young men decided not to come. That was a tough blow, but the bottom line is that one person is not bigger than this program. And the program has to go on, and that requires a lot of work. And we assembled, I think we've assembled a really good staff, really great people around me with good assistants and strength coach and secretaries and things like that. And we've just tried to hit the ground running. Fortunately for us, we have a great product to sell, the University of Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, and all the athletic traditions that go along with that.
Well, you end up with a pretty good group because a lot of people are excited about Tony Crocker, Bobby Mays, and Keith Clark. What about your young guys, and what can you realistically expect out of them?
Those 3 guys are very talented. Now, they're young. They haven't played a game of college basketball yet, so hopefully people will be patient with those guys and allow them to develop at their pace. Now, we need them to develop really quickly. We need them to develop and be good players for us. And those guys are talented, but it's going to take some time for them to make the adjustment to college basketball.
Oh, by the way, as we continue to talk, Paul Thompson zips in a third down pass and now has 257 yards passing.
On 13 of 17. And Alan Patrick with a couple runs in there as well. 52-0. Sooners leading here. Jeff Capel, the new basketball coach at the University of Oklahoma, our special guest. Patrick again tries to find a crease and does so. And is near a first down. He's into Middle Tennessee territory at the 44-yard line. One of the things you've talked about is maybe, because people are saying, where's your inside presence going to be? You lose 2 big guys inside, but you've even mentioned playing small a little bit, and that's become kind of in vogue in college basketball.
Well, you know what? There aren't very many true post guys anymore in basketball, period. And with our team, we do have a lack of size. Now, we have Longar, who we think's a talented young man. Keith Clark is obviously a guy that has some size, and then Taylor Griffin. But we may go times where we have 5 guards out there. And just make, you know what, if we do that, then that means we're going to really have to concentrate 5 guys kind of gang rebounding. But we think that could sometimes be a little bit difficult to guard as well, because you have a post guy kind of trying to, run around with a guard out there. And so this team is going to be really unconventional because of our lack of size. But we think it's a team that will be really, really fun to watch and watch grow all year long.
Coach number 80, Tennell, made a grab a minute ago, and he's a guy that has considered trying to play college basketball. And you just saw number 18 a moment ago. We talked about a little bit tonight. Jermaine Gresham, who is a 6'7" talented player. That move over football basketball is a challenge, isn't it?
It really is. You haven't seen a lot of guys have a tremendous success with that. My brother played with a guy at North Carolina is actually one of his best friends. I actually played two guys that did it. Ronald Curry, who's the quarterback and the point guard, and then Julius Peppers. And those guys did it. But, you know, Julius Peppers was a pretty good player, I think.
Pretty good athlete.
Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. But we're sitting here, you know, we could list him on maybe a couple hands here. Second and 10 for the Sooners, driving Jeff Capel, our guest, the coach of the University of Oklahoma basketball team. Patrick breaking tackles, and he's got a nice gain down to the Middle Tennessee 25. The Sooners looking for more, leading 52-0 at this point. Jeff, you talked about playing small, and I find it interesting. You've got a prototype with that because that's the way Villanova's played, and they played very successfully. And Dean, this is an exciting game coming up. You're going to host them on December the 6th. That might be an interesting ball game.
It will be. It will be. I mean, Villanova's a great program. What Jay Wright has done there since he's taken over the program and getting them to where they are now, he took it over under some tumultuous times, but really did it the right way in recruiting and just getting the quality of guys that he wanted with the style that he wanted to play, and it's become very attractive. They're a really good team, really well coached. We're excited to have them as part of our home package this year, and we hope it's a game that fans really want to come out and see.
Thompson missing a handoff, losing yardage back at his own 30, at the 30 of Middle Tennessee.
Did you play any football, Coach?
You know what? I did a little bit when I was younger, but just I wanted to concentrate on basketball, so I stopped playing.
One final question, and has to deal with people go, well, maybe, you know, he was at Virginia Commonwealth. Was he prepared? And of course, we knew you were a great player. But the CAA last year, George Mason, Hofstra, I mean, that was an outstanding league last year. You have been prepared playing in a tough league.
Well, it really was. I don't think people realize how good that league is. Not that it was. I mean, last year was a very special year for the CAA. You had George Mason, who made the Cinderella run to the Final Four. Old Dominion made the Final Four of the NIT, and they had to beat Hofstra to get there in the Final 8 of the NIT. You had UNC Wilmington, who actually won our league, who had George Washington down by 18 points and lost that game in overtime. So it was a very good league, really good coaches. And I'll tell you what, I'm more prepared for this job than I was at VCU. I was 27 and only had 2 years of experience. And so we did something right there. We either recruited some good players or we coached them up a little bit. And, you know, I think with our staff here, with the facilities and with the commitment to our basketball program and to athletics in general, and with, just like I said, the product to sell, the University of Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, the quality of life here, I just think it's so much to sell, and I really feel good about our chances of having success.
Jeff, have a great year.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for stopping by. Right. Jeff Capel, the new coach of the University of Oklahoma. Things are going to get, he's going to find out right away, Dean. He goes to the Maui Invitational. In that tournament will be Memphis, Kentucky, UCLA, and others.
Well, his team and Jeff hopes that they don't turn it over as much as Oklahoma has. They want to duplicate what's happened with the Sooners because they've not turned it over, and they also have not had any penalties. That's only 2 penalties, I think, on the night in the ball game.
52-0 Oklahoma. In the shotgun, Thompson, 3rd and 18. That pass is defended. It's incomplete. Sooner fans want a flag. They're not going to get it. Tennell, the intended receiver. Hey, listen, for Sooner tickets now, go to Soonersports.com or call the ticket office. They've got a ticket plan. Get this. Now, we're talking about how high-priced sports tickets are now. You get 18 games for $10 a game. That's $10 a game,
sweet.
Including, of course, the Big 12 games. Kansas will come here this year in the Big 12 rotation. Villanova, as I mentioned, comes in. So
that is pretty good.
There's your Soonersports.com right there. You can find the go to the basketball link, order your tickets. $10 a shot. OU's going to punt for the first time tonight. And of course, OU has the it's like a golf bag for OU. They can bring in the short punter, the deep punter. Mike Knowles, the short punter. 52-0 Sooners late in the 3rd quarter. A fair catch called for at the 2 for some reason. As fair caught.
This club has been rattled since it got off the bus.
Damon Nixon with a lapse in judgment. 52-0 Oklahoma. 52-0 Sooners. 2:53 remaining in the 3rd quarter. OU led 45-0 at halftime.
You know, it'll be interesting to see as offensive players have been sprinkled in what they do defensively, because they want to get a look at a lot of people, but at the same time they don't want this club to come back and get momentum and to score some points, because they had that happen earlier in the season and it really disgusted the coaches.
Joe Craddock in the shotgun from his own end zone. They try to max protect and get a little room, and they find Grigsby. at the 8-yard line. It picks up 5 yards. Marcus Walker defending. Jonathan Grigsby with the catch. Why would you fair catch the ball at the 2?
Well, because you're in a stadium of 85,000 people and the score is 52-0, and you're following the lead of your quarterback and a lot of the other guys. Is Adrian is out for the night. Some pretty nice numbers, leaving him 442 yards behind our interviewee earlier, Billy Sims, for the #1 slot on the Sooner list.
2nd down and 5 for Middle Tennessee. They've only got 4 first downs tonight, and now it's picked off. Nick Harris gets his 3rd interception of the year, stretches the football out, and is near the end zone. OU's already got 1 defensive touchdown tonight. Nick Harris, who had the 2 interceptions against Oregon, then gave up the game-winning touchdown, gets this interception here and nearly scores himself.
Well, Nick is a big, strong kid out of Louisiana. Almost went to Michigan. Oklahoma got him on signing day. He was a real bonus, and you can tell that he is a star in the making.
And OU getting the explosiveness on defense tonight they've been coveting in the first 3 games.
Under review. What it will never be shaken at Oklahoma. Every time those words are said, at Owen at the stadium here, the crowd will react the same way. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well say something else like bad food or thunderstorm warning or something else. Anything else but that.
We'll be back with regular programming in a minute. Yeah.
Well, Nick Harris, who felt both ends of the athletic spectrum last week, jumping that route intended for Jonathan Grigsby. Middle Tennessee, I'm surprised tonight. This is just not their normal bill of fare. Usually they compete and fight and have been. And Rick Stockstill, I'm sure, embarrassed right now tonight, being down 52-0, still in the 3rd quarter.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The player was short of the line of the touchdown. First down, Oklahoma.
And they boo that even, although OU gets it at the 1.
Joey Halsley getting his first action as Paul Thompson will end with 257. But, this is always a great place to get your first snap. I guarantee you.
The opponent won.
Yeah, and you're begging. And if the coach doesn't give you the quarterback sneak, you're thinking about audibly.
Patrick gets it, and he's going to lose yardage.
Stoned.
That's Sabb. J.K. Sabb.
Sabb can play.
Yes, he can. And he's a Butkus candidate, too. He's on there with Rufus Alexander.
Alexander will try to come up with his numbers because he has had a big night as well. But watch Sabb. Solid tackle. We'll talk a little more later as this game goes deeper into the 4th about Patrick because he can play as well.
Halsley, the junior college transfer, Golden West Community College in California. Patrick gets tripped up and fumbles the ball. Middle Tennessee's got the football, it appears, at the 4. The Blue Raiders think they've got it, and they do. So OU gets the ball at the 1, Dean, and is not able to finish it off as Alan Patrick fumbling the ball. The recovery by Dana Stewart.
Del Halsley doesn't like going into, after you go in at the 1, you lose 3 yards. You do a nice job. Handoff is just fine. You've got to secure that football a lot better than that. I mean, a lot better than that. And the Sooners had gone a game and a half without a turnover.
And give credit to Justin Rainey, the middle linebacker, for causing the fumble, getting his helmet and forcing Patrick to let go of the ball. Inside of a minute left, 3rd quarter, 52-0 Oklahoma. Craddock stays in at quarterback. McNair gets nothing. In fact, he loses yardage. Rufus Alexander. Middle Tennessee's got to think that there's like 5 of him on the field. Alexander's put up big numbers before. 13 tackles against Nebraska last year. He's having that kind of night tonight. A loss of 1. Middle Tennessee's got 2nd and 11 at their own 3. Craddock Lead draw. McNair breaks a tackle and has got a first down for the Blue Raiders to the 22. It's a gain of 19 yards before Alexander has to chase him down from behind.
Well, it's a good run. It's like one of those things that Oklahoma's defense had some problems at Oregon, but at the same time, Oregon has a terrific offense, so you've got to give them some credit. Same thing here. You know, that's not a good tackle, but at the same time, that's a pretty good offensive play.
End of 3 quarters. Oklahoma leading 52-0 here in Norman. OU's had a little of everything, including 257 yards passing from Paul Thompson. AD goes for 128 and 3 touchdowns. Malcolm Kelly 164 yards receiving and a touchdown. It all adds up to 52-0 Sooners. Middle Tennessee held to just 5 first downs, 1 yard rushing, and that's after they just ran a long run, their longest run of the night. Craddock calls an audible. He's got 9 seconds to get this snap off. OU still blitzes. Gain of about 4 for, give him 3. Curtis Lofton, the aforementioned Lofton, the big hitter on the stop.
I guarantee you that even though they want to get a lot of people in, and they probably will, the focus is going to be there defensively for the rest of the game. Not that they necessarily want to blank the club, but they just want to make sure that they aren't sloppy. Defense has been overwhelming tonight, and you don't want to ruin it.
Last shutout was November 20th at Baylor in 04. They also shut out Texas that year. Bob has had 8 previous shutouts here during his tenure at OU. McNair, 3rd and short as Lofton tackles him. When it's 52-0, Sean Kelly heads for the Sooner Schooner.
Well, first it was Sherry Cole, and now this, guys. I get a seat on the Sooner Schooner. This is the official mascot of the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, despite its first run and all the way back in 1964, it wasn't until 1980 that this was duly named the official mascot. Of course, Boomer and Sooner, and they traditionally run out after every Oklahoma score. But tonight, with the score as such, the ponies are worn out, and this Conestoga wagon will not run again tonight. Of course, they've got 2 weeks to rest and a 3-hour ride south to the Cotton Bowl. The Red River rivalry awaits the Sooner Schooner.
Pass in the flat. McNair covered by DJ Wolf. So the Blue Raiders pick up 1 first down and will have to punt.
Takes that Schooner a little longer to get to Dallas in 3 hours, you know.
Long night for these guys.
Sean, by the way, for people in the Oklahoma region, I know there's lots of people elsewhere watching, but Sean is the voice of the New Orleans/Oklahoma City Hornets and does a terrific job with a franchise that was just wonderful in Oklahoma City last year.
Colby Smith, the punt. Decent punt again into the wind. Reggie Smith awaits, gets a block and a seam. Only the punter to slow him down. He blows by him. Reggie Smith tastes the end zone. He has been threatening to return one. 62 against Washington, no score. 55 against Oregon, no score. 60 yards against Middle Tennessee. It is a score. Reggie Smith has been waiting for this one. Well blocked.
Well, we should have a good look at it here because watch him. He's totally calm. He sees the seam. He cuts up and he uses the speed. And earlier this year, it was a kicker, maybe a punter. I think it was a punter who tackled him along that same boundary. And I know I was joking with him about how he would handle it the next time, maybe being a little bit more under control, playing where he saw it maybe in more slow motion. And he's done that the past couple of times, and that time he certainly did it and get into the end zone. But watch how poised he is, and then it doesn't hurt to have those wheels.
And you don't see many Blue Raider jerseys on the screen. 59-0. The Sooners have scored almost every way imaginable The special teams have scored again. The 23rd special teams touchdown in the Bob Stoops era. The 10th punt return is Reggie Smith. And that's what's going to be exciting to Bob Stoops. Not only offensively they dominated, but they've had a defensive score and a special team score. All something that Bob's wanted to get the attitude cranking here to get ready for the Big 12.
You see players on Sunday. Do you see anything with some of these guys?
Reggie Smith, he could play tomorrow for somebody. And I told the coaches, if you don't need him in the next couple of weeks, we'll find a place for him. The thing is, he can do so many things. The question will be, where does he project? I think he's going to be a cornerback, although the OU playing him at safety now. But what a great punt return as well.
We meaning Kansas City.
Yes, I'm sorry. Kansas City Chiefs, sure.
That's all right.
Jimmy Wilkerson has done a good
Most
job.
Most people worldwide know a lot about you.
No.
But for those two out in Timbuktu, I'm going to go ahead and tell them. Kansas City. You know, the Sooners will sputter some offensively because, and we'll get with it back when Oklahoma has the ball. I got confused there when they ran the punt back. Sooners back on defense, but Oklahoma shuffling a lot of people offensively in the game.
Yeah, you're getting some new troops out there on defense as well.
Keenan Clayton, 22, hadn't played much since early in the season. He had a very slow start, but they're giving him a shot now at safety.
The counter, nothing there. Shut down by Darian Williams, the free safety. Tonight's crowd, 84,326. I don't know where Joe Castiglione puts these extra people. It is the 20th straight game, Dean, where they've been over capacity by about $2 or $3 grand. So where are they? They've got them in every nook and cranny here.
Well, you saw the graphic earlier. The reason they have that happening is that Bob Stoops has lost all of 2 games at home since he's been here in Oklahoma in his 8th season.
Middle Tennessee might as well just hang around. They go to North Texas next week, and then they have to play Louisville in Nashville. They'll play at the Titan Stadium, actually. There's a gain of 1. Nick Harris, who's been poking his nose around the line of scrimmage and actually in the Blue Raider backfield most of the night there to make the stop again. 3rd and long, which is something Middle Tennessee's had all night.
If you're wanting to keep an eye on a player for the future, and maybe the future being in the Cotton Bowl in a couple of weeks and later in the season, number 40, you want to keep an eye on Lofton, as we mentioned a couple of times. Also Lewis Baker in there, number 16, kind of the thoroughbred. Never has gained the weight to be a big, strong, good linebacker, but he can still fly around. He's in there. But watch number 40.
Lofton had the hit that electrocuted the Middle Tennessee kick returner earlier in the game. Joe Craddock trying to use max protection, throws that one behind the intended receiver. And then Rufus Alexander, little shove over there near the Middle Tennessee bench. Blue Raiders have to punt it. Mentioned Louisville, they but won at Kansas State today. You can see that Louisville team. They did not have their quarterback or they lost their stud for the year, and that team is loaded.
Still rolled it up against an undefeated Kansas State team going in.
So that won't be much fun for Middle Tennessee to meet Bobby Petrino's Cardinals. Colby Smith to punt, and back is Joaquin Iglesias this time, after the 60-yard punt return by Reggie Smith. 59-0. This is a bad punt.
Rarely do you sit your punt returner.
You know that's true. But it was a merciful move by Oklahoma. 59-0. Still 10:50 to go. Brent Venables has to feel better about his defense. They've been aggressive. They've attacked. They've scored themselves. 59-0.
Well, they're beating Middle Tennessee by what? Did they have the 1 touch? They're 6 points ahead of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right. They're leading tonight, 6-0. Middle Tennessee is up to 66 total yards, though. 59-0 Sooners. Neither one of the quarterbacks that played tonight for Middle Tennessee having much fun. Joe Craddock has been in there a good portion now of the game. It's going to go to McNair, short yardage. Actually, Desmond G gets the carry.
Now that is the type of playing thick and getting in your gap and getting into the backfield that Oklahoma fans are used to watching the last few years, and that's the way it's been tonight. And the Sooners just need to continue to get better and better because they're going to be playing better people starting in 2 weeks.
2nd and long for Craddock. And Middle Tennessee gets a nice run here. They've got a first down at the 25. Desmond G shows some speed out of Greenville, Florida. Adrian Peterson was pulled out of this game, Dean, early in the third quarter. 27 carries, 128 yards, and 3 touchdowns, but pulled out very early when OU was up 52-0.
Well, by the way, there were a couple of guys who have not moved up on the Heisman list today because of performances. Troy Smith, the quarterback at Ohio State, 2 picks and a really unimpressive performance. And then Brady Quinn right now, Notre Dame is taking it on the chin, and so that would be 2 weeks back-to-back. So you would think Peterson would move up, although there were a couple that thought that he moved down last week after an incredible performance. But I think what you have to look at is it would be easy to criticize Oklahoma at the end of the game, looking at the score and thinking Peterson's numbers and all of Oklahoma's numbers were gotten just burying a team after what happened last weekend, but that is not the case.
He could add 250 easy tonight.
Well, as this team was ready to give up.
Right. And Middle Tennessee is going to have better days. Rick Stockstill's a good coach. They've already got a nice win. Beating Florida International is a good Sun Belt win for them. Better than people might think. FIU is not to be confused with Florida Atlantic. Ball is up at the 30. Curtis Lofton nailed him. But again, when people want to criticize teams for running up the score, running up numbers. Oh, you did not do that tonight because again, AD goes out early in the third quarter, very early.
John Williams, 98, athletic, made a nice play there. Curtis Lofton will continue to make plays on Owen Field.
And he's got that nasty look to him. There's a look at Williams, but that Curtis Lofton, he looks like one of those angry type linebackers that's played here.
Yeah.
Including 3 different Butkus winners, 4 awards. OU schedule coming up. After this, it's the bye. And then, of course, the showdown at the Cotton Bowl against the University of Texas, which won today, handily beating Iowa State. UT winning 37-14. There's the rest of the schedule. Iowa State's been pesky. Colorado today almost beat Georgia.
Unbelievable.
They should have beaten them.
Unbelievable. Should have beaten them. That's right. And Missouri is a really good club and an outstanding young quarterback.
Chase Daniels did a great job there. Some explosive players. They got 2 great tight ends. Probably be in the NFL someday. 3rd and 10. There's a floater. That thing's nowhere close to the intended receiver, the receiver Jonathan Grigsby. So OU is going to receive another punt from Colby Smith.
That might have been deflected, but we won't talk about fourth quarter deflections by the Oklahoma defense.
Oklahoma 1 penalty tonight. 1. It's been an A+ grade. I can't think of much wrong. A couple long runs by Middle Tennessee, and other than that, this has been perfect. 59-0.
Huh.
Talk about that.
Now, why would you say perfect and all of a sudden that? What was the confusion? Well, maybe we'll figure it out during the timeout, huh?
Might be a personnel issue. Bob Stoops trying to figure it out on the sideline. Oklahoma working on the shutout, leading Middle Tennessee. The Blue Raiders 59-0, 5:22 to go in the game. The Blue Raiders getting ready to punt for the 8th time tonight. Iglesias back, waving his arms on the poison punt down at the 38-yard line. Let's check out what's going on in the Big 12 today. We mentioned earlier Louisville, how good they are without their starting quarterback, winning at Kansas State 24-6. Bobby Petrino 4-0 for the first time. And the stunner today was what Colorado almost had done, and they had been bad now. Bad. They're 0-4, but almost went between the hedges, Dean. Well,
Georgia is really good. Had to make a shift at quarterback, and you have to come ready to play every week.
Missouri is good, beating Frank Solich's, I should say, his Ohio Bobcat team. You saw Texas beating Iowa State. And then we do have some games that are going on right now tonight concurrently. There's your update. Look at Tech. They're blowing out Southeast Louisiana. Nebraska beating another Sun Belt team, Troy. Now, Troy almost beat Florida State earlier this year.
Yeah.
So that's a decent team.
Well, nice bounce back for Nebraska as well after the USC loss.
And then Kansas and South Florida in a battle in Lawrence, South Florida, coached by Jim Leavitt. Good friend of Bob Stoops. 2nd down and 5 for the Sooners.
Good football coach he is.
He is a great coach. Patrick gets it on the zone read, and he's in tonight. Fumbles the ball late.
I was just about to say I would bet you anything that he wouldn't fumble the rest of the night.
Middle Tennessee thinks they've got it near midfield. Patrick fumbled earlier. That's the 2nd fumble tonight for Alan Patrick.
Wow. Well, Gutierrez may be coming back into the ball game. Number 28 will not be back in.
Well, you mentioned Patrick could be the heir apparent. We're all assuming that AD is going to come out after his junior year, which there's 32 teams circling the stadium, which would love to have him. But if that's going to be the case, you don't lay it on the ground. You're going to be the heir apparent.
No.
By the way, Michigan State is just destroying Notre Dame 31-14 in that game.
Early.
That's not even halftime yet. 59-0 here, all Sooners. The only blemish is a couple of turnovers. Desmond G to midfield, gaining 1 yard.
You know, Cale Gundy doesn't get talked about enough because, you know, he's had some great backs here. I mean, Quentin Griffin was just outstanding, and Adrian Peterson. And those guys haven't fumbled. I mean, Quentin never fumbled, and Cale has. I mean, he's been a large part of that. They have focused on that. That doesn't just happen. And so 2 times putting this one on the ground will make practice a little more difficult in the next couple of weeks for Patrick.
Well, in AD, we talked about his touches. I mean, he's touched it more than anybody in the galaxy. And he's taken a lot of hits, and he hangs on to it. 2nd down and 9. Craddock might run it. Throws it late. He's got a man. Luke Pascal with the reception. Pascal's got a 1st down at the Sooner 35. This is the deepest penetration Middle Tennessee's had tonight. Lewis Baker covered.
Nice job there, just holding it, and finally locating a receiver that had been open, it seemed, for a few seconds.
Middle Tennessee went 1A in 1999. Good 1AA program. They were in the Ohio Valley for the longest time, and then went to the largest classification and in the Sun Belt, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, not far from Nashville. Harris blitzing. Craddock. This play's going to be blown dead.
Every time I hear Murfreesboro, Tennessee, it reminds me of a
false start. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Mitch, I had a teammate at Oklahoma back in the mid-'70s, Jerry Anderson, who saved some lives in a river, I think it was, that people were drowning, and he went in one holiday, maybe July the 4th. He goes in and saves people. Ironically, a year or 2 later, on the same date, goes in, and this time he did not come out alive, but he did save lives, unbelievably. And he was an all-Big 8 at that time. Secondary man. I have stitches under my chin because of how forceful he was, and a great, great guy there.
And that was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Yeah. That's where he's from.
Baker tackling Desmond G. Here's your other backers. Lofton and Baker.
Lofton and Baker pretty active there. Again, he's a guy that they just tried to get to eat all the time. He has a problem that everyone else would like to have. They just pumped food and malts at him all the time, and he just could not put on any weight.
210 is his listed weight.
Played him in the secondary some last year, and that just wasn't quite a natural fit, and so they move him around some.
Craddock nearly has that one picked off. Wolf jumps the route. Actually, the pass a little behind the intended receiver, and Wolf nearly had his 1st pick.
J.D. Wolf, one of those mysteries, because he had a terrific season last year, and he just got off to a very slow start. Just letting a couple people run by him in obvious passing situations. He's come back tonight, Mitch. Seems like he's had a pretty solid game.
Had a huge play last year in that game at Arrowhead Stadium against Kansas with a 65-yard touchdown on an interception. The Sooners needed it on that night. 1:14 remaining in the game. 3rd and 17, Middle Tennessee down 59-0. Craddock again trying to buy some time, and that one floats over everybody and should have been picked. Keenan Clayton drops it.
Rufus Alexander out of the ball game, but not before he had 9 tackles and 5 for loss. Sabb a great night as well, 8 and 3 for loss.
There's a look at Rufus. Gets a week off, and then he's headed for Texas. 4th down, 17, the shutout being held on to here by the Sooners. Joe Craddock needs a big play, floats it incomplete. Lindy Holmes on the coverage as the intended receiver. Taylor Rob Taylor for Middle Tennessee. The Sooners are going to hold Middle Tennessee on downs and are on their way to the 9th shutout under the tutelage of Bob Stoops, dating back to 1999.
Well, Oklahoma will have a chance to do what it should have had a chance to do 1 week ago, and that is to prove that it can take a snap, take a knee, and win a ball game.
Halsley headed for the victory formation here, but other than a couple turnovers, this is exactly what this football team needed, and they've shown some attitude tonight, Dean, and got some confidence back.
No knee taken on this one.
Now Gutierrez, who was the hero of last year's game against Baylor, gets a long run, a crowd favorite down to the Middle Tennessee 44-yard line.
He really is. You saw the piece on him earlier, and he's a guy who won't fumble it, and he'll just roll around like a bowling ball, and usually forward.
Well, he earned a scholarship last year in that double overtime win over Baylor. If he doesn't show up, that could have been a different story. Went for 173 and 2 touchdowns. Bob Stoops just has to feel better. It's been kind of a weird week for Bob. You mentioned Tuesday, quit talking about it, but everybody kept running sound bites all week. But now he can get ready for Texas. Now OU's going to go to a knee. Sooners are going to win it 59-0. 24 first quarter points, 45 at the half. Then they just shut it down. They did have a punt return by Reggie Smith in the 4th quarter and a Thompson to Iglesias touchdown. And Bob Stoops and Rick Stockstill tell him, listen, buddy, you didn't run it up. We didn't help ourselves much tonight. And both guys coached under Steve Spurrier. 59-0, Oklahoma to win. There's Jimmy Ray Stevens. He was on the staff at Florida with Bob Stoops. But overall, they get defensive scores. They get Zach Latimer's interception for a score. They get Reggie Smith's punt return for a touchdown. AD's got a good night. Paul Thompson was 13 of 18, 257.
And they get out of the house in about 2 hours and 50 minutes, which the past few ball games have been ridiculous. You know, with these NCAA changes, they were thinking they would shut the games down by about 12 minutes, and the games have taken forever. 3:54 the last ball game.
Let's go down to Bob Stoops and Sean Kelly.
Coach, nice win tonight. I'm curious as to get your thoughts on how it played out. And, of course, after all the distractions this week, you were confident that your team would move on and take steps forward. Did they tonight?
They did. They did a nice job. And you know, we understand we're going to see stronger teams. Coach Stockstill and his group have only been there 1 year. So, that, you know, they're going to get better, and I'm sure of that. And we understand our situation. And we didn't have distractions this week. We were all finished talking about it at my press conference noon on Tuesday. Now, just that everyone else is talking about it, that doesn't mean we were. So we're on and moving on, and we're ready to keep building as a team.
Coach, you guys tweaked 1 or 2 things defensively, maybe in the secondary. You moved a couple of guys around. Were you very pleased with their performance tonight?
I was. We're still trying to find the right mix there, and hopefully they played well tonight, and we're in good position, so we'll see.
Coach, congratulations.
Right. Thank you.
Bob Stoops moves to 3-1, gentlemen, and a nice performance throughout all 4 quarters tonight.
You can take the boy out of Youngstown. You can't take the Youngstown out of the boy. I'm telling you, that is a tough kid that was tough as a player at Iowa, and he is tough as a head coach here at the University of Oklahoma. 59-0, the Sooners all over Middle Tennessee. We'll be back with more from Norman after this.